This is the OXO Barista Brain 9-cup coffee maker. It's an auto drip, programmable. It's got a large thermal carafe. It's got a mixing tube. So coffee goes in, goes straight to the bottom of the pot. You're having your over-extracted and under-extracted coffee mixed throughout the pot. So that's a really cool feature that no other auto drip coffee maker boasts. It's got a really visible water reservoir here. You can clearly see every line from 2 to 9 cups. Really fun watching the hot water go up into the shower head. It's definitely aesthetically pleasing, and while it does only have one button, it has a slightly steep learning curve. When you first plug in the coffee maker, what you'll want to do first is set the time. So this is a rotating dial, and since it's about 10:53 right now, that's what we'll set the time to. So you press the button and the time is set. This can brew anywhere from 2 cups to 9 cups of coffee. Keep in mind that a cup is defined as 5 ounces. In total, we're gonna have 45 ounces of coffee possible. There's also a 12-cup model is available, but I think it's about $100 more. 2 cups basically will get you almost a full standard 12-ounce mug. If you're looking for a single cup coffee maker, then this could do the trick. If you just want 5 ounces of coffee though, you're better off getting a smaller coffee maker, something like the AeroPress or a pour over. I'm gonna go ahead and show you what it looks like when it's brewing. I'm just gonna go ahead and brew 4 cups worth. So here's a close-up on the reservoir. Lid, nice big opening. The fill line indicator is probably better than every other SCAA certified coffee maker that's currently out there. So we're at 4. Here's a look at the other side of the coffee maker. The brew basket lid opens in the opposite direction. And let me just show you what the shower head looks like really quick. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total holes. That's a little bit less than what the Bonavita BB1900 has. It's way less than what the Brazen Plus has. That doesn't mean it doesn't extract as evenly. I'm gonna show you the extraction later on. Let's just take out the brew basket here. All right, let me give you a better look at the filter basket here. So it has this brew pause mechanism that will basically stop the flow of the coffee when you remove the carafe. It only works for 60 seconds, so after 60 seconds, if you don't return your carafe to the base, then it will cancel the brew. It also has this overflow prevention valve, if you will, or a hole. Takes a number 4 filter. I'll add 4 cups worth of coffee. So then you just close the lid. So this is how you use it. This is how you start the brew cycle. You're basically gonna wanna press the OXO button in the middle and then just select 5 to 9 cups or 2 to 4. So in this case, since we're brewing 4, we're gonna select that option, and then you just press the button one more time. To cancel it, you just press it again. We're gonna run through a brew cycle, and I'm gonna time it for you, and I'll report back on the other end how long it took. Here's a look at the water pumping up through the middle. So let me show you what happens when I remove the carafe. So a little bit of drippage. They actually warn you about this in the manual. You can see this red light is flashing and it shows this little carafe icon. So you have 60 seconds to add it back and it will resume. So I wouldn't recommend doing that if you can avoid it, but I know sometimes people are in a hurry and want to get to that cup of coffee quickly. One of the major benefits of this OXO Barista Brain is that it brews with a pulse brew. So just like some of the other newer SCAA certified coffee makers, it dispenses a little bit of the hot water onto the grounds, and then it stops for about 15 seconds and then it resumes. So this is to mimic the pour over style and make sure that the coffee is being evenly saturated. So you know the brew cycle is complete once you see this icon right here. So basically once the coffee is completed brewing, it will keep track of how long it's been since the coffee finished brewing. So that's good to know in terms of drinking your coffee before it gets a little too stale. And the total brew time took about 6.5 minutes. So that's in the recommended range for the SCAA certification, which is 4 to 8 minutes. Here's a look at the brew basket. Used filter basically right after the brew, and you can see that the coffee is completely wet, no dry spots, and it appears to be a pretty even extraction. Sometimes I'll notice a few indents basically where the shower head holes are, but this is something I've noticed on the Brazen Plus and the BB1900 as well. So in my opinion, this is the first con for the OXO Barista Brain, and that's that there's drippage after you remove the carafe. I haven't noticed any dry runs in all the times that I've used it. It's just a minor nuisance. It's nothing major. Brazen Plus has the same problem, I found. Bonavita, BB1900, and Technivorm actually avoid this issue because the filter basket is removable. So it just sits on top of the carafe, and as such, you can just take it over to your sink and then dump it out, or your trash can or compost for that matter. The Brazen Plus and OXO Barista Brain, however, they brew the coffee directly into the carafe, and you don't need a separate lid to attach to your carafe. So the benefit of that is that your coffee is probably going to stay hotter longer, depending on how fast you act to put on your lid for those alternative coffee makers. Another downside for me is the coffee maker's size. It's probably the biggest one I've used so far. So it's about almost a foot wide, about 5 inches, height 15 inches. And OXO tells you not to put this under a countertop. So for those who have, or I'm sorry, not under a cabinet. So for those who have counter space that is exclusively under cabinets, this probably is not going to work for you. The other issue I have is with the carafe itself. Well, I should start it off by saying that it does pour well. Not only is it quite big, but except once you get to the last drop. Okay, so once you get to the end, you'll notice that it seemingly stopped pouring coffee. However, there is still some coffee in the bottom of the carafe. So this is one of those carafes that won't pour down to the last drop. The only other issue I really have is with the usability itself, especially when it comes to setting the timer. So I found that that is a little bit difficult to do. It's a little bit tricky. First time I tried to use it, I wasn't very successful. So it has a slightly steeper learning curve over the Bonavita BB1900 for sure. It is easier to use though than the Brazen Plus. I think it's great that they just had one button, although it's not necessarily the most intuitive thing. You're gonna have to take a quick glance at the instruction manual. So here's what I like about the OXO Barista Brain. In other words, pros. So the whole reason I picked it up is because it is SCAA certified. It's one of about, I believe, 7 or 8 at the time of this video. So it's one of the newer ones on the block, and it's actually bigger than all other models. This is 9 cups of 5-ounce coffee, and they have a 12-cup version as well. So they basically, they being OXO, offer the biggest SCAA certified coffee makers out there. The coffee tastes great. Isn't really customizable. I mean, you can choose between 2 to 4 cups or 5 to 9 cups, but it's just as simple as your Technivorms and your Bonavitas. It has the pulsating brew, which is definitely a benefit. It has this very large reservoir, which is not really visible right now, but once this condensation comes down, it will be. The mixing tube in the thermal carafe is something that's definitely unique. I think that all automatic drip coffee makers should consider this. It brews really quietly, and it's also relatively quick. 4 cups took about 6.5 minutes. As long as you treat your thermal carafe correctly, particularly if you preheat it, your coffee will be staying hot for a very long time. Definitely beats a hot plate in my opinion. There you have it. That is the OXO Barista Brain 9-cup coffee maker. It's great for people who have space in their kitchen, want to make larger batches. If you're the type of person who likes to mess around with your brew parameters a little bit more in terms of water temperature or pre-infusion time, then you might want to check out some of my other reviews like Brazen Plus or KitchenAid Pour Over, which I'll link up to in this video. Thanks so much for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask me below. If you found this review helpful, make sure to subscribe, share, or even just visit the full review in the link below. Thanks so much.